Alright guys, this is going to be a video on my first impressions of the VEVOR 12 kilogram melting furnace, as is so aptly displayed right there. I apologize for the audio or the video. Not something I typically do, and I don't have a setup, so you just got to work with me. Basically, what I'm going to do is pack this, inventory it, and then we're going to spray some rigidizer. This is the Mr. Volcano. It's currently mixed a 1-to-1 ratio, which is what they recommend in your spray bottle. I got that off of Amazon. Because this has the ceramic blanket, you don't want to just fire this as is, as it will release some particles into the air, which are not good for your lungs. So I definitely recommend buying that if you're getting this specific furnace, as it does not come with it. So I've already opened this a little bit just to kind of get an idea of what I'm looking at. The first thing we have is the little manual. In the front, we've got a packing list and some very basic instructions, little guide on the melting points of certain metals, and then just some more technical data and warnings in the back. Next, we've got the splitter. As this has the dual burner setup, you'll have the hose that'll go into this inlet here, and then the two outlets, and you've got two ball valves to kind of regulate how much gas is going into your furnace. Next is the two burners themselves, the little housings that come with them. They don't have any kind of flow control that you may see on other furnaces. However, I'm hoping that with the ball valves on there, you can still get a decent flow out of it. Now this is a view of someone who's never done this before. This is my first time doing any kind of metal smelting. I have a project that required it, as I did not have the money to have this part machined or anything else. So this was actually the cheapest option, and I like to learn new things. So next, we've got the handle that'll go on the lid. We've got a piece of foam here. I will say that this is definitely, I'd say, adequate packing for what's in here. We don't have any ceramic bricks, not ceramic bricks, just fire bricks. So you don't really have to worry about those getting too damaged in shipping. We've pulled off the top foam bit. We've got the top of the furnace with that ceramic blanket inside. We're going to be spraying down later in this box. Next, we've got the furnace itself, the housing. Inside, we've got a couple more things. We've got the regulator and hose, the crucible, the smaller of the two fire bricks that you do get. Let's see if I can get this open here. There we go. So this is the half brick that you get for when you're using it in the typical foundry furnace setup. Also still in the box is the full-size brick that you'll use when you're laying it down. If you're using it in more of a like a forge type setup. We've got a little bit of packing foam. Get that out of here. Remove this plastic. And so that's what these feet are on the sides, is if you're using that as a, there we go, you might be able to see that a bit better. If you're using it as a forge, you've got these 2 feet, that way you can set on its side, or you have it upright in that foundry furnace setup. There's a better look at that crucible. It's just graphite crucible, getting shit all over my hands, or things all over my hands. Looks like it's maybe come apart a little just on the edges. This was only 165. I think I paid about 180 after tax. So, you know, budget cuts. I don't know how good the quality of the crucible is. Also, you know, there's only, I think this is like an inch or half it. It's probably half-inch blanket, so not a whole lot of insulation. And this is, I almost thought this was a thicker steel. This is just a thin, almost like a cooking pot thickness, a cheaper cooking pot that you might get at like Walmart or something. Then you're included these crucible tongs. I wouldn't use these as crucible tongs. As you can see, they've got a bit of a point to them, which is going to really pinpoint all that pressure when you're crimping on this, and you're very likely to crack or break your crucible. So that's everything that comes in the box. So the first thing we're going to do, clear off this table here. Put all this on the ground. I've got some space to work with. Alright, so there we go. So as I said, I'm going to be using the Mr. Volcano Rigidizer for the ceramic blanket. All you're going to do, it does state to pre-wet the blanket. However, I've kind of forgotten about that. I'm just going to go ahead and do it as is. I don't think it'll be too bad. And I'm going to let it sit here and dry for about probably an hour or so. I've got some other things I got to do. So I know this one doesn't specify if you want it to dry or not. However, up to you. It does just say to cure it by heating it in the forge on a low or medium, which I think is a bit of a very vague statement, but we're going to go ahead and do that real quick. There we go. Yeah, definitely glad I'm letting this sit for a little bit. But all right, for now, that's what we're going to do. We're going to let that dry while I go do my other taskings, and then we'll come back and get the rest of the build done. All right, so it's probably been about an hour and a half or so, and those have sat in here. They haven't really dried up at all because it's frigid out here for now. I've got the wood stove in the background, hopefully warm it up a little bit in here. Looks like it's about 34 degrees in here, so good times. So for the rest of this, we're going to finish the assembly of the furnace. We've got the hose and regulator, the burners, and the valves that we're gonna assemble and then do our first burn in the furnace. That's going to be to cure the rigidizer. All right, now looks like we've got 2 hex screws on the top of the lid here. We're going to undo those and get them out. You can only really do this. I guess you could probably get it on both ways, but I'm going to assume we're going to have this handle facing up. Makes a little bit more sense in this context. I'm not super prepared for this. I'm going to have to find a driver for that. Lucky. Beautiful. All right, now we're lucky. These work with these T25, T21, whatever the standard hex drivers are here. This is definitely a bit overkill, but it's all right. Just a couple ooga boogas in there, and that'll do. So we can get that out of the way. Right, next we're going to do our valve and regulator here. Now, yeah, this is, alright, I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be able to swivel, but I think they've crimped that on just a little too tight. Thankfully I didn't put this on yet. Now, with that being brass, I shouldn't need any Teflon tape. And wow, yeah, there it goes. Now it's going to swivel. Yeah, work that in a little bit. Grab me. Okay, this is definitely a bit bigger of a wrench than what's necessary for this, but we'll go ahead and tighten that down to about 3 Ooga Boogas. I think that'll be alright. Alright, next we've got these burners, and so the way they work is they just slide on, and I'm going to put these on the back side. I don't actually know if those would interfere. They wouldn't interfere, so you can really put those wherever you want. We'll put them on the back side though. With the set screws, you got little set screws that go inside. Yeah, you can see that pretty well. So you can unscrew that, throw it onto the nozzle here. There we go. Tighten that down. I'm going to move both these to the off for now. Interesting way of... Sure. Looks pretty good to me. And let's see what we've got here. We've got the regulator. It's got a valve, which is good to know. We've got up to 30 psig, which I believe is pounds per square inch gaseous. So just like the burners, we've got set screws on the furnace housing itself. So we'll undo that, not all the way though. Put that back in, there we go. And I think I'm gonna have it coming out this way, away from the burner. We've got little C clamps here. Oh, whatever those are called, I always forget. This, I think putting it together first may have been a mistake. Let's undo the burner from the nozzles here. Ooh, let's not lose those. Use those here. So I guess pro tip, put these in first. There we go. Put those in. Have them generally the same direction. Tighten those down. And then we'll throw that burner on. See if I get a better view here. Yeah, that's a bit better. Stand with it off on the opposite side. Both of those are fell out again. Definitely a tight fit, which I know I can't really complain with. I'd rather it be too tight than too loose. And we'll tighten those back down. Perfect. Right. There we go. And we've got that half brick I discussed earlier. That's just going to go straight to the bottom, so you can see that. And then we're going to get this on the ground, and we'll start her up. All right, so we've got the furnace hooked up to the propane. I've got it currently set to about 10 psi, or psig in this case. We're going to let it burn in. It said to burn it in at a low to medium, so 10 psig should be perfect for that. I've already checked for leaks, so we don't have to worry about that. So we're going to open up the valves and fire her up. That should be a bit better. All right. The valves open. seem a little high. Put this on. Beautiful smoke coming out of there. We've got this next to the door, which isn't doing the greatest job. We're actually lowering it down to about 5 psi or psig. 5 psig should be great. Nice swirl going on there. Beautiful. We're gonna let that sit for, I believe it said an hour, and we'll be back. All right, so we've just let that harden, and as you can see here, so it's still a little hot, but it's rigidified. It's not a word. It's become a lot more rigid. It's very hard surface. Even this area that maybe could have used a bit more rigidizer. However, I think it did its purpose for all intents and purposes. So what we're going to do now is I've just finished up my tongs. And we're going to get some aluminum in there. So I'm going to load this up as well as I can with this bit of aluminum that I've scrapped up. I picked this up at a local scrapyard. For anyone wondering. That's a bit weird. This stuff is a little bit dirty, which will be fine. It's a little bit more slag and stuff inside. But I couldn't beat the price, and there wasn't enough people getting rid of taco rims for reasonable prices. Probably enough I actually got a piece of a rim here that I don't know what happened to it, but yeah, yeah. Alright. Now I think that's enough for now. I'm going to go ahead. So we'll go ahead and put this in here. We've got the brick at the bottom. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to get a piece of cardboard, put that at the bottom. Keep a little bit, start the fire, help prevent the crucible from sticking to the bottom. That's nice in there, nice and perfect. And grab a lighter. Alright, so we've got this cranked up to full bore 30 psig. We're going to get this first burn on the way. So far, I'd say it's been a really good process. That's awkward. Ah. As soon as I say, I think this has been going well. firing up that cardboard there. Once that's done, this will calm down just nicely. So good. They're looking pretty good. Again, this is my first time ever using a smeltery before. A smelting furnace, a melting furnace, whatever you want to call it. And honestly, I think it's going very well. I'm very happy with this purchase so far. Let's get to pouring it. All right, so overall, that first melt is done. I'm just waiting for these little ingot bars, or whatever you really want to call them, little muffin ingots, to cool down. As far as the VEVOR, or however you want to pronounce it, 12 kilogram smelting furnace, honestly, worked flawlessly for me. It took about 20 or so minutes for it to heat up fully and melt the aluminum. I did have quite a bit of slag that came off of it. That's probably terrible. There we go. But you know, again, this is the metal I'm working with. It's not great quality. It's just what I could get in a short time frame. That way I could break this thing in and see how it works. There was definitely some, I believe, magnesium in it. Luckily, not a whole lot. I got to figure out which piece that came from. Luckily, I didn't really have much of a fire going. Just when you'd scrape it, it would ignite, and it's not good for your eyes, for one. But it's not something you really want to mess with. I should have been testing it by taking a file and scraping it, and then hitting it with some vinegar. If it bubbles, it's magnesium, I believe. Don't quote me on that, or quote me on that, you know. But either way, I gotta be doing that next time with all the pieces while they're whole. That way I know for sure. I might just bring some to the scrapyard with me next time and do a little filing, make sure I don't have to worry about that again. You know, it's a learning experience. As I said, it's the first time I've used it, and you know, from a perspective of someone who's never done this before, I'm thinking that this could be a good viable option. Again, make sure you buy that rigidizer, as it will destroy your lungs if you start breathing that stuff in. Some people say after that first burn in, you're fine, but you know, I just like to play it safe, and I'd rather just have that extra risk mitigator in there. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm sure it's going to run on a little bit longer than I planned it to, but as I said, this is the first time I've really done something like this, and well, we'll see how it goes later on. I plan to start doing this more often. I've got a project coming up that needed this, and as I think I stated before, this is the cheapest way I could get that part, is just to make it myself. But that's going to be a long ways down the road, as I got to get into ceramic mold casting with lost PLA or lost polycast. So, but if you liked what you see, go ahead and subscribe for the stuff will come up next. For the foreseeable future, it's just going to be a lot of meltdown videos, not a whole lot of making anything, just kind of building up a stock of some good cast aluminum. That way when it comes time to do my projects, I'm ready to go. But all right, I'll see you next time.